Come closer. The shadows have missed you, and tonight they have a new story to tell. Welcome to Scary Stories After Dark. If I'd trusted my instincts, I never would have said yes to that ad. I wasn't always the type to babysit for strangers in crumbling Victorian houses with dead ivy strangling the porch. That came later, right after my bank account hit negative $32 and my ramen supply dropped to emergency rations only. The ad read, "Urgent babysitter needed, one night only, $300 cash, safe neighborhood." I should have known anyone who had to specify safe probably wasn't. Still, I messaged. Still, I said yes. The house sat on the far end of Elmhurst Lane, where the streetlights thinned and the fog grew thick. A creaking iron gate opened by itself as I stepped in. Charming. The porch light flickered like it had stage fright. I knocked once, twice. The door opened before my third. A man with paper-pale skin and thinning black hair stood there, wearing a smile like it didn't quite fit his face. Behind him, a tall woman in a maroon dress hovered with a baby on her hip. The baby, Silas, didn't blink, not once. "Riley?" the man asked. "You're right on time." "Yep, that's me," I said, trying to sound like I didn't already want to leave. "You've got a great curb appeal." The man didn't laugh, neither did the woman. "The baby, though?" He giggled. A high-pitched little sound, like a squeaky wheel needing oil. "We'll be out late," the woman said, stepping forward. Her perfume smelled old, not floral, like dust and time. "Silas is fed and bathed. He just needs to be watched." "Cool," I said. "I can handle watching a tiny human breathe for 4 hours." They didn't smile at that either. These people were allergic to sarcasm or human emotion. I took the baby. He was cold, and they slipped into the night like shadows fleeing light. The door shut behind them with a solid click. I didn't hear a car drive off, just silence. The house was colder than it should have been for September. The wallpaper peeled at the corners like it was trying to escape the walls, and the chandelier above me creaked softly despite no breeze. I glanced down at Silas. He was still staring, still not blinking. I tried a smile. "All right, creepy baby," I whispered, "let's vibe." His mouth twitched up slightly, like he understood me, like he was in on a joke I didn't know the punchline to. I set him gently in the crib in the upstairs nursery, because of course the nursery had antique dolls lined on shelves, glass eyes catching every sliver of moonlight. I avoided eye contact with them like they owed me money. The baby monitor buzzed with soft static as I headed to the kitchen for a snack. The hallway felt longer than before. Every step echoed. The old hardwood creaked beneath my sneakers, not just under me, but a beat behind me like a second set of steps. I laughed it off, nervous. Dumb. When I got back to the nursery 10 minutes later with a bottle in hand, Silas was gone. Panic, full stop. My heart shot straight into my throat. Then I heard it, a giggle, not from the crib, from behind me. I turned slowly. He was sitting in the rocking chair by the window, staring, grinning, with teeth. I didn't scream. I wanted to. Instead, I whispered, "What the actual hell?" I picked him up. He was warm now, too warm, like he'd been sitting near a fire. The rocking chair creaked behind me after we left the room. It only got weirder. The baby monitor picked up voices that weren't mine. I'd hear my name whispered in my own tone. The kitchen light turned itself on. I placed Silas on the rug while I changed the batteries in the remote. When I looked back, he was gone again. I found him in the hallway closet, door shut, smiling. He shouldn't have been able to open it. I called Cal. Are you sure you're not just freaking yourself out? He asked with a yawn. Old houses are loud and weird. You watch too much horror crap. Okay, first of all, rude. Second, I know when a baby's teleporting around a house like a tiny demon. I'll be there in 20, he sighed. Try not to sacrifice him to anything before I get there. Ha ha. I hung up and turned to the crib. Silas wasn't there, but on the wall, scrawled in crayon in shaky, sharp letters, was one word. Watching. My hands trembled as I turned slowly, sensing him behind me again. He giggled, and somewhere deep inside the house, something groaned, like the walls themselves were waking up. Cal was on his way. I told myself that, like a prayer, like a spell to keep the walls from closing in. The monitor let out another burst of static, followed by the unmistakable sound of laughter, but not the giggling kind, not Silas. This was low, raspy, like someone pretending to laugh from behind a wall of meat. I shut it off and chucked it on the couch. Okay, I muttered, pacing the living room. This is fine. It's all just ambient horror, classic. I'm going to get murdered, and it's going to be ironic because I left my horror degree in the glove box. The house answered with a click. I froze. The grandfather clock in the corner had started ticking again. I hadn't noticed it before. The second hand moved in jerky, twitching spasms, skipping numbers like it was choking on time. I ran my hands through my hair. Okay, no big deal. Haunted clock, antique baby, slight demonic overtones. Could be worse. A whisper drifted in from the hallway. I turned, heart pounding. Riley. I backed up until my calves hit the couch. Nope, absolutely not. You don't get to whisper my name in my voice. That's not how this works. The hallway seemed darker now, like the shadows had thickened, coagulated. I could see faint movement behind the wallpaper, little twitches like bugs crawling beneath a layer of skin. I reached for my phone to check Cal's ETA. No service, of course. I turned toward the nursery and stopped cold. All the dolls were facing the hallway now. They'd been turned, every single one of them. I didn't move, I didn't breathe. Silas sat in the center of the rug, legs crossed, hands in his lap like a polite little gentleman. He looked up at me, wide-eyed. Did you... My voice cracked. Did you move the dolls? He blinked once, then smiled. Teeth. Too many. I stepped into the room. The air was thick with something sweet and rotten, like old baby powder mixed with wet dirt. As I crossed the rug to scoop him up, I tripped over something. I looked down. A rattle was lying in the middle of the floor, sharp and jagged, covered in something that looked like dried blood. I hadn't seen it there before. My hand trembled as I reached for Silas. He let me lift him without resistance. His skin felt waxy, soft like warm plastic. He blinked slowly, too slowly, and never broke eye contact. Downstairs, the front door rattled hard. I screamed. Silas giggled. Then, bang, 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 3 loud knocks echoed through the house. I rushed to the top of the stairs, baby in my arms, and peered down. Nothing. The door didn't move. No shadow beneath it, no voice, just the smell of something burned and ancient. My skin crawled. Then the lights went out, all of them, just like that, gone. The house was pitch black. Silas began to hum, a slow, low tune, off-key. I stared at him, horrified. He had no lips, none, just that huge, grinning slit of teeth stretching wide in the dark. The front door creaked open on its own, and for one brief second I swore I saw someone, or something, standing just outside the threshold, tall, with antlers, and it whispered, "He likes you." I slammed the nursery door shut and backed away. I needed Cal. I needed out. Then my phone buzzed. One new message. Don't open the door. It's not me. Cal. My breath caught in my throat. I turned back to Silas. He was gone. Again, the crib empty, the window wide open, and something crawling on the ceiling just above me, giggling. The phone in my hand buzzed once more. Don't open the door, it's not me. I stared at the message. My breath hitched. Another knock came, gentle this time. Patient, not frantic, not normal, just 3 slow taps, like it already knew I was watching from the stairs. Riley? A voice called from outside. Hey, it's me. Calculations, let me in. It sounded like him, mostly, but something was off. His tone too smooth, too rehearsed, like someone had downloaded Cal's voice and run it through a faulty AI filter. The hallway behind me let out a groan. I turned and saw Silas standing at the end of the corridor, completely still, head tilted, his eyes 2 pits of void reflecting nothing. He was smiling again, and something behind him moved. The wallpaper bubbled inward like lungs taking a breath. I clutched the phone tighter. Cal, I whispered, inching down the stairs. 3 more knocks, still slow, still deliberate. Riley, the voice repeated. I forgot my key. The baby monitor upstairs crackled to life again, even though I'd turned it off. Let him in, it whispered. I reached the door. My hand hovered over the lock. A breath, hot and humid, pressed against the other side. I could feel it. Then, Riley! That was really Cal, outside, farther away, not at the door. I spun around and looked out the living room window. Cal was standing at the edge of the property, under the twisted iron gate, waving both arms. Do not open the door, he screamed. I didn't knock. My stomach dropped. My hand jerked away from the knob like it burned. From behind me, I heard the door click as the lock turned on its own. I backed up. Fast, and then silence. The door slowly creaked open. No one was there, just the fog, and something moving in it, tall, thin, crawling like it had too many joints and not enough skin. I slammed the door shut and threw the deadbolt just as Cal burst through the gate and sprinted up the steps, breathless. I yanked it open and yanked him inside. Oh my God, I gasped, grabbing his jacket. It was copying you. It pretended to be you. Cal's eyes darted around the house. You weren't kidding. Do I ever joke about possessed toddlers and murder homes? He blinked at me. Actually, yes, you do. I punched him in the arm, not the point. The monitor buzzed again. Welcome home, it whispered. We both froze. Okay, Cal said, swallowing. Where's the baby? We turned. Silas was back in the crib, fast asleep, as if nothing had happened. We sat in the living room with every light on, both of us holding kitchen knives and shaking. This place, Cal whispered, it's like it's breathing. It is. I felt it. And the baby, he disappears. He moves around. He climbs the walls, Cal. That's not a sentence people should say casually. And he giggled while upside down, I added, like Spider-Man, but if Spider-Man was evil and made of wax. Cal frowned. We need to leave. We can't. I already tried. He walked to the front door and opened it. Outside was nothing. No porch, no fog, no street, no town, just blackness. It was like the entire world outside had been erased, eaten by something ancient and hungry. Cal slammed the door. What is this? It's him, I whispered. It's the baby. We looked back at the monitor. The image showed the nursery again, but this time we were in it. Us, sitting in the rocking chair. Silas cradled between us, except we were smiling, huge, stretched grins, our eyes missing. The monitor went black, the lights went out, the house began to breathe again. And the stairs creaked behind us as something started to crawl down. The sound of something crawling down the stairs was slow and wet. Each thump was followed by a slick, dragging noise, like someone hauling a heavy trash bag full of meat across linoleum. Cal raised the kitchen knife. I raised mine, even though my hands were shaking so badly the blade rattled. Then, silence. No more crawling, just breathing. Not ours, not Silas's. The house was breathing again. The wallpaper pulsed, the ceiling bulged. The chandelier above us trembled like it was about to shatter into a million screaming shards. "Where is he?" Cal whispered. I shook my head. I don't think he ever left the room. I think he's the room. We inched back toward the stairs, each creak beneath our feet echoing through the house like a warning. We didn't speak, didn't blink. The walls listened. At the top, the nursery door was open. Empty crib, no Silas. The dolls were gone too. Just an open closet, and in it, something new. A small dusty staircase leading upward, where there shouldn't be one. Cal looked at me. "There wasn't an attic before, right?" "Nope." "Cool, just checking." We stared at the narrow staircase. Its boards blackened like they'd been burned decades ago and never cooled. And then, faintly, we heard it. A music box, playing from above. The same lullaby that played when I first met Silas. Only now the tune was slower, twisted, warped by age and something worse. We climbed. The attic was wrong, bigger than the house should have allowed. The space stretched farther than physics should allow, into a smoky, flickering dark. Candles lined the walls in broken circles. Strange symbols had been scratched into the wood, some with nails, others with teeth. In the center of the attic sat a child-sized rocking chair. In it, a baby doll. Porcelain. Cracked. Its mouth opened and closed as the music box played. The tune was coming from inside it. Carved into the floor beneath it, in messy, blood-red ink, were the words, "He was never born, he was brought." The room suddenly felt suffocating, thick with heat and salt and something sweet like rotting honey. Cal knelt beside the rocking chair, his voice tight. "Riley, look." A trap door in the floor. He pried it open with his knife, and a burst of cold air slammed into us like a slap. Inside the compartment was a journal, old, burnt around the edges, pages brittle and damp. I flipped through it, and there, scrawled in terrified handwriting. The ritual worked. The offering was accepted. The house is his now. The child grows backwards into something unknowable. The body is only temporary. The vessel watches. We were fools to trade blood for comfort. More pages. He cannot be killed. He cannot be given away. He is the house. He is the watcher. He is the breath in the walls. And the last page. Do not feed it after midnight. Do not leave it alone. Do not let it learn your name. My blood ran cold. The nursery monitor clicked on downstairs. Static. Then a deep, distorted version of my own voice whispered, "Riley." I dropped the journal. A low snapping sound came from the far corner of the attic. We turned slowly. Silas was crawling out of the shadows, but he was changing. His body cracked and stretched. His limbs bent backward, then forward again. His eyes split in two, then four. His mouth opened vertically, revealing layer after layer of teeth like broken glass. He was molting his skin like a snake, rising. He no longer looked like a baby, not even close. Cal grabbed my hand. "We need to run." I didn't argue. We bolted, the attic screaming behind us as Silas, the real one now, unfolded to full height, scraping the ceiling with clawed fingers, dragging the candlelight with him like a living flame. Down the stairs, the hallway twisted like a serpent under our feet. The house was melting, peeling back its walls to show pulsing muscle and tendon beneath the wallpaper. We dove into the nursery. Silas was waiting for us again in the crib, laughing. There were two of him now, the smiling infant, and the thing behind him, standing tall, head scraping the ceiling, eyes on fire, and they both whispered together, "We were waiting for you." We didn't run, we couldn't, our legs wouldn't move. Something had rooted us to the floor, like the house had grown beneath our skin, under our bones, inside us. The two versions of Silas stood there in the nursery. One a baby, wide-eyed, innocent, quietly giggling. The other a grotesque, towering version of the truth, its spine curving like a centipede, face peeling open like wet petals, revealing nothing inside but a smile stretched across endless rows of broken teeth. And then, the nursery breathed in. The floor pulsed beneath our feet. The walls throbbed pink and slick. The house was no longer pretending. It was alive. It was Silas. Cal gripped my hand. "We're not gonna die in a demon crib, Riley, I swear." "Love that energy," I choked out, "but we need a plan." The grotesque Silas moved, not walking, gliding, his limbs twitching like he hadn't figured out how to use them. His jaw cracked open sideways. "Mommy," he gurgled in my voice. And then he lunged. We dove into the hallway just as the floor cracked open behind us, revealing a screaming mouth where the nursery had been. The hallway extended outward like a rubber band being pulled to the point of snapping. We ran. Doors opened on their own as we passed, each one revealing a different version of the house. A kitchen full of rotting food crawling with black worms, a bathroom mirror that showed us dead, bleeding, smiling, a dining room with a long table and dozens of versions of us, each one decayed, seated, clapping slowly as we passed. "This isn't real," Cal gasped. "This isn't real." "It's not fake either," I shouted. "We're in his world now." A staircase appeared where the wall used to be. We scrambled up it blindly, breathless, heart pounding, the house snarling behind us like it was angry we'd found the exit. The attic again. But it was changing. Now the ceiling opened into a spiral of flesh, like a throat leading somewhere deeper. And the music box was playing again, over and over, the same lullaby. Off-key, dripping. At the center of the room was the ritual circle from the journal, this time drawn in fresh blood. This was it. "This is where they brought him," I whispered. "This is where they traded something to get him." "For what?" Cal asked. I looked down at the journal, flipped back through pages I didn't see before. "We begged the void to give us a child. We offered a piece of our world. It gave us a god in infant skin." More pages. "If the vessel is loved, he becomes curious. If he is watched, he becomes hungry. If he is named, he becomes real." Cal stared at the floor. "We're not supposed to be here," he whispered. "We're not babysitting. We're feeding it." We turned. Silas, the real one, was in the attic now, but not alone. The walls peeled apart, revealing more mouths, more eyes. The house itself began rising with him. Floorboards snapped upward, pipes writhed like veins. It wasn't a house. It had never been a house. It was his body, and we were inside it. "We end the ritual," I gasped. "We close the gate." "How?" I grabbed the journal. Blood smeared across the last page, but I could still read it. He came through the circle. He must be cast back through it, fed with his own name, swallowed by the silence that birthed him. "Say it," I whispered. "We have to say it." Cal looked at me. "We don't know his name." And then it hit me. The dolls, the monitor, the crayon on the wall. Watching. His name wasn't Silas. That was a lie. His name was Watcher. I screamed it into the attic. "Your name is Watcher." The house screamed back. Every door slammed. Every candle blew out. The lights stuttered. The air turned ice cold. And then he opened his mouth, too wide, and everything inside him turned to darkness. The spiral of flesh behind him began to pull, a vacuum, a void. It dragged him backward, slowly at first, then violently, his long limbs clawing at the attic walls, screaming in my voice, and then Cal's, and then his own. We held each other as the attic cracked open, light flooding in from nowhere, blinding until... silence. The house was gone. We stood in a pile of ash and foundation, dawn rising behind us, sirens in the distance. We were alive, somehow. Hours later, we sat in the back of an ambulance. No one believed us. Of course they didn't. There was no house, no record of it. The Hallwicks didn't exist. Silas never existed. But I still hear him sometimes, on nights when it's quiet. When I'm alone, he hums that lullaby, just under his breath, waiting. It's been 2 months. 2 months since the house vanished, swallowed by a dawn that came too fast, too bright. They called it a gas leak, structural collapse, urban decay, all the usual lies people tell themselves when they don't want to believe in monsters. Cal and I know better. We saw the truth, felt it under our skin. We barely talk about that night. We still sleep with the lights on. The sound of a creaking floorboard sends us both sitting upright, wide-eyed, drenched in sweat. I keep the journal hidden in a locked box beneath my bed. Some nights, I swear it pulses, like a heartbeat, like it's still breathing. I dropped out of college, started reading books that no library should carry. Demonology, summoning, inverse spiritual physics. My therapist says I'm detached from reality. I smile and nod. If only she knew how much reality was detached from me. Cal changed too. He doesn't laugh the way he used to. He double checks every lock. He keeps a bottle of holy water in his glove compartment like breath mints. We haven't babysat since, but we do check Craigslist sometimes, out of morbid curiosity. And yesterday, we found it, a new post. Urgent babysitter needed, 1 night, cash, safe home. Same wording, different name, different city. Attached was a photo, not a baby this time, a toddler. Maybe 2 years old, still smiling, same eyes, still too wide, still not blinking, and in the background of the image, a wall of peeling wallpaper, dolls lined up on shelves, a baby monitor blinking red. Cal turned to me and said the thing I was already thinking. He's growing. That night, I couldn't sleep. At 3:33 a.m., my phone buzzed once. No number. Just a message. Watching. And then the screen glitched, only for a second. But it was enough to see the faint reflection of something behind me. Small, smiling teeth. We're not out. We never were. The house is gone, but he's still out there. Somewhere. Waiting. And he's learned something new. He knows your name now, too.